talk to our guest. That's Garth O'Brien. How you doing, sir?
Doing very well.
Thank you.
Very well.
Oh, it's great.
Surviving.
Go ahead, sir.
Just surviving.
Just surviving. Okay.
Yeah,
Just surviving.
pretty much that's what happens when you run a program of this size. You are surviving.
So you're keeping your head above water, and that's the best thing, right?
Yes. I mean, that's pretty much my weekly goal.
Oh, my gosh.
I've actually looked back at my calendar for the last 2 months, and 80 to 90% of my time is spent in meetings. And the work just keeps piling up. Luckily, I've got a team. I brought on an agency.
Right.
So it's not entirely horrific, but yeah, it is, when you sit at the top, you don't do as much SEO as you used to. You do a lot more strategy, management, planning, educating, and all that sort of stuff, all that neat stuff.
No, I can understand that and can commiserate to a micro degree, but if we're talking about hundreds of properties, yeah, that's a beast of a thing. Garth, give us a little bit about your history.
So I'm a recovering lawyer.
I'm so
that
sorry.
usually throws a lot of people. Yeah, I haven't gone back, so it's out of my system. I actually gave up the license 2 years ago, officially.
Oh yeah.
So yes. So I started out prosecuting for the city of Seattle for between 2000 and 2002, and I ended up going on to a boutique DUI drunk driving defense firm from 2002 to 2005, 2006, something like that. But during those 2 years I was prosecuting, there was a guy in Southern California named Larry Taylor, who was really the first lawyer to embrace SEO, SEM, and blogging. No one knew what blogging was back then.
Okay.
Or at least no one cared. And since the engines didn't have local search, he pretty much ranked for every DUI term. And so he would be the guy that would be tapped to do the interviews on CNN and NBC when an athlete or actor got busted. Because he was the only
out there,
in town when you typed in anything DUI.
Absolutely.
And then so I joined this firm in 2002. The firm owner was like best friends with Larry and said, "We need that up here, so you're going to learn from his SEO, SEM consultant." Literally as an apprenticeship for 2 years. He would come up once a month, about 2 to 3 hours at a time, and he didn't like doing the work, so he would train me, okay, title tag, this is what it is. This is how you do it. So go do it. I'll look at your work, and then if you figured it out, we'll move on to the next concept. And then it was about, I guess after 2 years, I didn't need him anymore. I figured it out, reading blogs, doing some testing. And then in 2006, I just woke up saying, man, putting on a suit, dealing with judges, lawyers, cops, witnesses, et cetera, I just can't deal with it anymore. I have way too much fun sitting in front of a computer screen figuring out the secrets of digital marketing.
That's a big jump.
Yes. And luckily I had a shot to start out at Global Enterprise. It wasn't as big. So the little tech company in Bellevue, Washington called GMI, they managed massive communities worldwide that would take market research surveys online, and then they built out platforms and applications for market research firms to do their work. Okay. So we had niche demographic websites all over the world. Then from there I went to MSN. I managed 5 of their channels for North and South America, working under Dwayne Forrester before he was the Bing webmaster guy. Then went to Catalyst, which is a digital marketing agency focusing on paid and SEO. Yep. They're out of Boston, and they have offices in Seattle. So it was there I really started getting my teeth into a lot of big programs.
Well, one of the guys over at Catalyst,
on the GoDaddy.
Well, one of the guys over at Catalyst is a big AMP proponent. What's his name again?
Paul Shapiro?
Yep, Paul Shapiro. Is that the same?
I know Paul.
Yeah. He's over at Catalyst. We had him on the show a while back. Excellent. So you jumped.
There's a lot of good people there.
Oh, there are, and they know some sharp stuff over there. So you jumped into GoDaddy. How did that bridge go from an agency level to an in-house SEO level? And we just talked to last week. We had another interview with someone who crossed that line, Jason White, and he actually moved from. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the
Tom's like a walk-in. It's.
I just posted the show and
Yeah.
edited the videos.
Fixing
and it's in my
video.
mind.
and I'm having senior moments here.
That was episode 4 at the 36-minute mark.
But he just transitioned over from agency life into Hertz, lead SEO guy over there. So tell me how that transition went briefly from an agency environment where you're dealing with multiple clients to an enterprise level environment where you're dealing with multiple properties all under one roof.
Well, so I had the in-house experience before I went to agency.
Got it.
And then agency, it's a little lucky. My counterparts on the East Coast, they were kind of beholden strictly to the SOW. And it was more of a kind of a task base.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do your audit, we'll do competitive intel, we'll give you X amount of X a month, and there you go.
Right.
The Seattle office, we kind of were a little faster and looser in that regards. I didn't have an account manager. I was the account manager and account director and operations director. So I worked directly with the clients, where my counterparts on the East Coast, they had to go through an account manager, account director to speak to clients. So I actually basically was the sole SEO resource for Hallmark, Chevron, IKEA USA, Xbox support, Windows Phone, and I worked directly with their teams if they were willing. The clients, except Chevron, for a year and a half, it was a marketing team that was leading digital marketing, which is always going to fail because they're taking their offline approach and their just general marketing strategies and trying to apply that online. It's like, sorry, you're not just servicing a user, a human. You also have to pay attention to search engines, and offline marketers don't do that. So we had a 0 implementation rate with them for a year and a half.
Lord, are you serious?
Growth.
Oh my
for
Lord.
a year and a half.
Somebody needs to be smacked.
But then the counter with like Hallmark and Xbox support, I was piped directly into their content teams, their technology teams. And at Xbox support, we had a 90% year-over-year growth in organic because they did the work. They had like an 80% implementation rate. So,
oh, my Lord.
So that jump was fairly easy coming to GoDaddy. I had to convince them. They had a previous agency guy here, and he, I think they had creative differences, and the position opened up. CMO, I couldn't get an interview, and I'm like, man, what is the deal? I've got, I'm talking at the time, 12 years experience at enterprise. Well, I can't even get a phone screener. And it turns out the experience was so bad that they thought the agency people were talkers and not actual doers or knew how to do the work. So I begged the HR guy, give me the 15 minutes with the CMO. And within 5 minutes, Phil Beaner, was a former CMO, was like, I get it. You're flying down here. We're going to have our interview. I'm like, all right, cool. So persistence, definitely persistence helped there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so you dug into GoDaddy, and your role, you have so many different things that you're attending to, and I'm just going to go through the list here real quick. Vendor management, that in its own right. With GoDaddy, I mean, it should be its own role. Team management, you got 3 SEOs, a dev and a PM. Social media, you're also taking care of technical SEO with multiple CMS platforms, right? And then you have the on-page SEO, content strategy, and focused on multiple opportunities. I mean, on a regular basis, you're working in all those different areas. Each of those, honestly, is a respective job unto itself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I'm spread thin. And the social media, I influence a lot. Like I have access to my team has access to the corporate YouTube and Pinterest, because those are the platforms where you kind of double dip. You can surface content easily within their own search engines, but then externally, Bing and Google eats that stuff up.
Right, right.
So we have a full social media team. I just make sure that on those platforms, our assets are actually optimized. Then when it comes up to campaigns, we'll do our keyword research and our search behavior research and say, hey, you might want to consider this with your campaign. So I don't want to tell the world that I run the social program.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on. And earlier someone mentioned, budget. Budget kind of drives how much you can actually do. So if I I have a limited budget. So would I give myself an A grade across every single little box in the SEO world and then in the management world? Probably not, because at some point you've got to create that prioritization list, and it's just a matter of fact. There's only so many bodies, only so much time. We rely on other teams, engineering, content. They only have so many bodies, so much time that, it's after a while, the picture's pretty clear of what you can and can't do really well, and keep your eyes on the ball here and there. But yeah, it'd be great if I had a double team and a triple budget. We'd probably be doing a heck of a lot better in all these areas. But for what we have, we put out a lot of work. At Catalyst, there were a few months I thought I put out a lot of work, but our production is pretty insane.
I got to tell you, I'm going to cut in here in full disclosure. GoDaddy was a client of ours. So in case,
excellent.
Yeah, loved you guys. And we worked with Christopher Carfey over there on GoDaddy Garage. We did some really, really in-depth WordPress articles. In fact, one of them is still growing strong. It's basically how to build your first WordPress plugin, and you can actually download the code and do it yourself. So we loved that opportunity. And I got to say that one of the reasons that we were really, really cautious, like we didn't know whether we wanted to work with GoDaddy or not. And when it was explained to us, it was, hey, we really want to go deep, in depth, be helpful to businesses, everything else. And that's when we were like, oh, okay, well, we're in then. So yeah, it's some great content out there.
Yeah, Carfey's awesome. I work with his team a lot, because that's really one of the only avenues we have at the moment to go after the content marketing pieces, if you will. And it's tough because the marketing history of this company usually is pretty offensive, but it works. And that's why they relied on it. And so I think it was about 4 years ago, Blake Irving, new CEO, took the reins, and he wanted none of that. He wanted to shift. I mean, I think over 50% of our customers are female, and here you are showing these racy ads in Super Bowl, and over half your customers are like, I don't want to see that. And he quickly came in and changed that. We haven't aired one of those types of commercials since. There were a few other big mishaps, sleep at the wheel with one big internet issue where there wasn't consensus and messaging went out when it shouldn't have, and we kind of got burned there. So people have this bad taste in their mouth. But at least in the last 4 years, what Blake has been trying to do, we want to be the one-stop shop place online for anyone out there thinking, I want to start a business. It's like, well, great. If you want to start an online business, it's a no-brainer. But if you want to start an offline business, it's also a no-brainer because you better have an online presence, even if you just want to be a landscaper in Bothell, Washington.
Absolutely.
People have got to be able to find you, and they're looking online.
And that's where GoDaddy really has built their brand beyond domain registration. They're building useful tools, and GoDaddy now has a brand of being explorers. There's an explorer piece of kind of value add in the GoDaddy ecosystem now, that you can actually do this, and GoDaddy is finding new and developing new tools for that that SMB, so to speak, and being able to create much more of a benefit, very similar to what American Express was doing for a long time, of creating an entire new community. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Yeah, their communities. Yeah, I've looked at their community a lot before coming here, and then we look at it as well while I'm here. I mean, that's the key. I mean, for the longest time, the Achilles heel of e-commerce shops has been, I just want to show you my product pages, and it's going to be minimalist, and I'm going to have this huge buy button because that's super easy. It's like, that's great, but no one's going to get to these pages. There's no content. There's no value prop. The Amazons and Nordstroms of the world struggled for a very long time trying to rank for just black cocktail dress. Sure, they could rank for a brand that they were selling, but they had no content or landing page for these broad, unbranded terms. That's where we're trying to shift that with. We need to build content, and it's just easy. Do your research. You use your keyword research. You look at internal search data. You look at competitors, and then you try to start figuring out, where am I ranking? Where am I not ranking? And what's the opportunity there? And then you just have to commit. Okay, I'm going to start publishing content there. And
stay focused.
My arrival here was kind of timely because, as I said, Blake was pushing us to become basically a small business, mid-sized business partner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, if you're going to do that, just giving them a domain name hosting and a website and kicking them out the door is not enough. You've got to help educate these people because they don't understand trademark and copyright. They don't understand that there's going to be taxes that they have to plan for, business planning, et cetera, et cetera. And that's kind of where we want to go, is getting all this content out there so that you come back and not only you buy products, but you actually learn and become more successful in your area.
Absolutely. Let me ask you something. My eye caught something that you provided us pre-show, and it was interesting in a number of different ways. I know you are regularly in the process of hiring SEO, this, that, and the other, and you have to manage personnel. Those are always tasks of any management group. But in your respect, you mentioned something that is unique, I think, to your enterprise level environment, and that's the evangelism of your discipline inside of SEO. Being able to educate and change your company culture towards SEO and getting them to understand how important some of the technical execution is for the entire lift of the organization. Can you explore that a little bit with me and talk about how do you go about getting a hold of that octopus, so to speak, let alone juggling it?
Definitely. So when I was at MSN, there was a decent-sized SEO community. They don't have a centralized approach at Microsoft. So if a business group has money, which is rare, they tap in SEO. So I think there were a couple at Windows, at Office, a few other random groups. They had agency support, and the MSN had an in-house team.
Got it.
And no one cared. It's okay, we're going to build a website. What do we need? And you got your architecture, usability, widgets, content, and then it's like social media support, SEO, and all these things. And they're always driven towards a date. So date's coming up. It's like, gosh, we can't get to SEO stuff. Well, you don't actually need SEO to launch a website online, so it gets dropped.
There it is. Yeah.
And we were always the first to get dropped. And then people would come around 6 months later saying, well, where's our traffic? It's like, well, you coded it all in Flash, so good luck. Way below $250,000.
Oh, wow.
And Frank Gosh, who was running MSN SEO globally, and Dwayne Forrester, like, look, let's just have an internal conference. So the MSN team developed the first Microsoft internal SEO conference. Everyone was invited, people came, and we used the internal resources to educate and do sessions, just like any other conference, but it was straight on working workshops. This is how you do it, and this is why you do it. And here's examples of the sites that have done it wrong, and here are their web analytics, and here are the sites that have done it right, and here are their web analytics. Which one do you want to be, business owner? And then when I went to the agency, Catalyst, we were at the time agency of record for Microsoft. Through the central marketing group at Microsoft.com, we did monthly webinars. So Pete Quinlan, who now actually is at Office as their SEO, and myself, we rotated. It's like, all right, let's pick a topic. Robots.txt, sweet. We write up the invite, give a target audience, give a quick summary, and then we'd educate. And over the next 2.5 years of doing this, the audience size grew. And Microsoft still had this internal conference, and their audience grew.
Okay.
And slowly, this is a beast. So slowly, you see from 2009 until about 2015, it starts shifting from bring SEO in on the eve of launch and, we can't do anything, to let's bring them in on day one. And when I was at Catalyst, what killed me was, and this lasted only a couple months, was an engineering team launched something and wiped out, the year's previous worth of work from the person that I took the rollover from.
Ooh.
I basically forced my clients, you're flying me out, I'm training your engineering team, and I have a separate training session for your content, PR, and social media team. And if execs have any questions about should they fund this, I'll create a session for them. And the only way you're ever going to win the SEO battle is you've got to stop the bleeding. And if you don't train your teams, they're going to continue to launch stuff and ruin everything you've done. And so when I got here,
and obviously not intentionally, but
no,
I mean,
they just don't know.
They have no idea. They have no idea what disservice they're doing, and they're creating that vacuum that is tough to fix it once it's out there. For the most part.
And so the first 4 months I was here, did the road show. We have offices. At least most of our tech teams are in Scottsdale and blanking out on not San Jose, Sunnyvale in Silicon Valley, and then here in Kirkland, Washington. So I went and grabbed every single team. I grabbed PR, I grabbed social, went to multiple engineering groups, went to multiple content groups, UX groups, because our UX team designs our layouts and uploads image assets and any other asset to the website, and basically walked them through. This is how you impact a website. SEO is not just me and my team. Anyone that builds and designs a website and anyone that publishes any content on the internet is responsible. And it was funny, too, because there has been an in-house SEO team at GoDaddy for, I think, going on 9-10 years now. A lot of the groups had no idea. And that was a big red flag for me. So if a lot of
they didn't tackle they didn't tackle the evangelism side of it. They didn't tackle the evangelism side of it. And that's what you're pinpointing right here is you've got to put it in their face, and you've got to create a structure in which you've got stages of education and an embracing of that process before they can even get it. I mean, they're and a lot of techs, a lot of SEO techs, right, don't either have those skills or even want to educate the other parts of the team because they feel disenfranchised or they feel separated. I mean, there's a lot of animosity between conventional marketing and let alone digital marketing, let alone the back of the bus, so to speak, SEO techs that don't really get the praise that they deserve sometimes. Yes,
that they hit the nail on the head. And so you got to keep at it. Luckily, after that little roadshow now, we are brought in a lot more on day one, or at least very early on in the project. But then there's always turnover, and I've noticed it's been at least 12 months, maybe even longer since I did that first roadshow that I see some things slipping. So Q1 next year, I'm going back in that roadshow, and I'll build upon it. So a lot of things have changed in SEO in the last 12 months. And then I also know a little bit more about the company. So just rehash it. And next year, we're planning on trying to launch that monthly webinar series that we did at Microsoft. We're, now that I have a PM, thank goodness, developing a central intranet website that has what we're doing, what we've done, any kind of analytics and reporting.
Right.
And then just kind of develop that place where people can go and see what's going on. Without that, I mean, you just always will fight an uphill battle. And that's the one thing I would take anywhere, in-house and agency. If you don't get that training, your work's going to be canned and destroyed within a matter of months, whether it's 2 months or 12 months or 18 months. It's going to happen.
Yep, I completely agree. And kudos to you, because that is a whole different hill to climb up from a culture embracement than just trying to do SEO. I mean, you could very well just keep a closed loop team and just do cobble together execution and point to a small pocket of analytics saying, hey, look at what we're doing. We've done this over here, and you can spot weld the different web properties and demonstrate success regularly. But as on a global front, getting the teams, plural, and the community at large that's building this content to understand and appreciate and also contribute to the do you have many connections where somebody just emails, hey, how does this look if I'm trying to do this through the SEO lens? Do you have that request now coming to you?
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. See, and that shows the difference right there. That shows the adoption and the value that's understood by people that aren't in this space. That's fantastic.
Yes, that's what's definitely increased our workload. to live short.
But that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. So,
Subsequently, there's going to be new budget that's coming your way too.
yeah, I actually did expand thinking this. We were not rocking enterprise level tool support. So, I had the starter kit for starter plan for Majestic on backlinks. Like, we have 2.5 billion inbound links, and I can only see about 100,000 of them. That is not good.
No.
So yeah, the budget goes up quite a bit next year. Makes our life a little bit easier.
Yeah. So in your pre-show questionnaire, you mentioned that you want to talk a little bit about hiring SEO talent. So I was just kind of curious of what, as you were building your teams and in the past agency life, what's a skill that most SEOs lack?
Technical.
Yeah.
Wow. See, and that's oh man. That's the nature of
80% of our life is technical.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, I mean,
so I've been hiring SEO manager level, senior and entry since Catalyst, so 2012. And one of our first hires, they answered the questions good in the screener. They seem to do okay in the well in the interview.
Right.
And they get in the seat and they just have no concept of code. And we had to end up parting ways with him. And after that, Pete Quinlan would go in and talk basic SEO principles. Our boss, Steve Hall, would go and see, okay, is this person good cultural fit? And is he or she gonna drive everyone crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I for these poor people, I basically would get in the room and turn on the screen and look right at code and say, look, I trust Pete and Steve to figure out if you have a basic understanding of SEO and if you aren't a complete fool, but you know what, if you can't read code to me, you're useless. And you will see immediately, because we would only bring people in that based on their resume and a phone screen should fit the bill. But you will see immediately when the lights go off and the code and the source code comes up, there's two reactions, either complete flushed face and silence and wide eyes, or, okay, what are you going to ask me? And I almost could tell within 3 seconds if a candidate was actually going to make it to the next screen. And people, I actually had some feedback where, gosh, that was kind of a harsh interview. But if you...
No, absolutely not.
Technical SEO problems, especially at the websites. We're not working on someone's blog, Chevron.com, Hallmark.com. These are e-commerce sites, big brand sites. I mean, if you can't deduce technical SEO, you're really useless. And especially since most of my accounts are Microsoft, you couldn't send an SEO to a Microsoft engineering team that could not speak code.
Right.
Sure.
Because if they don't, those engineers just tune out. Like, you're wasting my time. And
wait,
so when
did Microsoft learn code?
Ooh.
Oh.
Exactly. Poor Microsoft.
Doug, where have you been for the last 25 minutes?
They're making a comeback, though. I've heard the new Surface.
The Surface product.
It's actually pretty hot.
It's amazing what you can do when you build the platform from top to bottom without third-party people involved. Right?
Yeah.
You can control every aspect of quality. And so I'm glad that they're doing it, and I look forward to all of our prices dropping soon. Because the top level Surface is what, $3,000?
Yeah, that new studio.
Yeah,
studio. Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
And it's beautiful.
It's a sharp looking
big price
machine.
point.
Yep. So
hiring is difficult. I mean, I would say, and the other thing is I mean, it's a two-way street, right? Do you want to work for me or for the company? And does the company, or do I want to hire you?
Right.
And I've seen a lot of, resume inflation. For me, maybe it's because I'm a lawyer. Everyone says, lawyers lie, but you can't. If you get caught, you get disbarred. It's pretty simple. And so honesty, integrity is real high on my scale.
Yep.
And so if I see a resume with that I know X, Y, and Z, and then I call you on it and you can't respond to it in an interview, that's a big problem. And I've wasted so much time in interviews where, there's been a pretty bold claims on paper that just are not in fact accurate.
And do you think they stuff those resumes with the belief that they'll never get called on it? They must. Thinking that SEO is going to be checked off. Say, yeah, we have to have an SEO person. So, that looks good. Wow, that's some technical jargon right there. They must know what they're talking about. I've seen it too, Garth. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I had an interview. I was literally making the guy sweat bullets, just teching him out. To, hey, what do you think about this? What kind of tools do you use? And I mean, just the commonplace best standard practices, right, Tom?
Yeah. I remember one interview we had. I just asked the guy, kind of explain to me what your basic keyword research process is, and he just like his face turned white and he's like really? Okay. He's like, well, normally I go to the competitors' websites and see what keywords they have listed at the bottom of their page.
No,
and I was like,
come on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I look in the meta description, the meta keywords tag.
Yeah, let's crank the time machine back about a decade and a half. Yeah, I mean, it just it's a you want to believe that the SEO community and the SEO discipline has matured and they get technical SEO. You have to be proficient. You have to be able to understand also what you're doing inside of design as well and how that affects the usability of a page. They need to know code, that they also need to know much more, what do you want to say, a holistic perspective of things as well. And
well, I'll give you one. If they don't understand the infrastructure and how to speed up a e-commerce site or website, regardless of platform or anything else, you're done from an SEO standpoint.
Yeah.
And so you've got to have the technical chops.
So on that note, Garth, what else bugs you about the industry right now?
Man, Google's. I guess Google.
Always comes back around to
a
it,
couple
don't
of
they?
things. Yeah, I mean, there's so much with Google, especially of late. Search results seem to be shrinking. Like there's only 5 websites in the world out there: Wikipedia, Amazon, which just isn't right. With machine learning, I've seen some wacky stuff since it's turned on. A lot of old SEO tactics are working, and that puts me in a bind because now that some of that stuff's considered, black hat. There's no way I'm going to deploy that on GoDaddy.com.
Right.
Because if the machine ever figures it out, now I'm hosed and I've wasted time and effort and potentially could blacklist the site. And I don't want to go there.
Absolutely.
They also have, selective rule enforcement. At one point, we had widget links for Website Builder and I think our SSL certificates. And, the predecessors leveraged that quite a bit because it worked. Mm-hmm. And then Penguin came around, slapped them around. So we had to clean that up, add the no follows. But right now, 2 of our competitors that are business partners with Google Domains, they don't have no follows. And they dominate in a lot of keyword rankings. And I know it's because of that. And we've alerted Google and they don't do anything. And so that gets frustrating because it's like, okay, are you not enforcing the rules?
Yeah, absolutely.
Them because they're making you money? And if that's the case, that's not cool.
It's their sandbox.
That's a big challenge. Yeah, that's a big challenge. And so we'll see what other avenues we can pursue to maybe convince them otherwise. The other thing, we just struggled with this too. I mean, translations are expensive. Localization of content is super expensive.
Yep.
And they have the content quality page up there on Webmaster Tools that if you look line by line and you see, no automated translated content, no duplicating content, all these other rules, you look at that and you're like, okay, they're targeting a spammer or a very entrepreneurial SEO that they're killing it and selling iPhones in the U.S. And now they're like, all right, screw it. We're going to translate this in Finnish, and I'm going to go conquer the Finland market. No, absolutely zero effort to actually engage with that market and help them because they don't speak Finnish. But that's what those rules go to punish. Well, we're a legitimate business. We actually do have people in market to speak all the languages that we support.
Very cool.
But our web content, we have a help article section of around 5,000 articles. You translate 5,000 articles in Finnish, Japanese, and German's bloody expensive. And so, but we can't rely on machine translation
Just because of those compliance
actually,
issues.
Yeah, it's like there's got to be, and they got to do a better job at finding it, of coming up with intent. Are you trying? Is this site or company trying to game the system for organic traffic,
right?
Or is the site actually trying to give a best user experience, which is what Google, always puts forth? So we just actually launched our help section, launched a machine translated section for Spanish, and we've had humans review it, and by all accounts, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's even come back better than some of our human translated pages. And we reached out to John Mueller of Google Webmaster Tools, and I just asked point blank, hey, I see your quality guidelines, but then just as I explained, we're not trying to screw you over to get more traffic. And their response was, you got to block it. And it's those kind of rules that just don't make any sense to me. But I guess it's difficult to apply.
Yeah, I don't think
some and not others.
Yeah, they're not at the point yet that they're actually, although they have so many human evaluators. They are even those constraints, that 162-page documentation that they've got out there for how to evaluate websites, they are still going to hamstring a lot of big sites by the rules that have been exploited with so many black hat, smaller website executions. They'll select their own partners, within reason. And those that don't comply, they'll still provide value. But, whenever you're in their space, in their sandbox, they're not going to open the doors up for especially for the larger sites, the larger brands out there. That's unfortunate because they should be responding. I mean, it's going to do nothing but increase their value if they actually are a good deal more subjective in what what GoDaddy's really doing with this content and what they're doing, because they have such an enormous volume of content. I would agree with you completely. Hey, what excites you about your industry right now? Just to end on a positive note here.
It's opportunity. I mean, the SEO is the business is 24/7 salesman. When your sales force, it's at midnight. Most of your sales people are sleeping, not the website.
Yep.
And so that's what I love is digging and figuring out, okay, we don't rank for an entire group of keywords because we don't have one drop of content for any of the subject matter. Let's go out and produce it and see things improve, see the traffic grow, and see us being part of the conversation in the search engine results. And I always laugh when people say SEO is dead. And then again, we heard that with machine learning. It's like, oh, the machine's going to figure it out. No, SEO, we're educators. Not only are we educators in explaining to people that are developing, designing, and publishing content on the internet, we're an educator for the crawler. I don't even care if it's a machine learning. My site is going to be crawled the easiest, and you're going to be able to determine in the easiest fashion what the subject matter of an image, a video, a document, or web page is.
Right.
And I laugh when other SEOs say, "Oh, we don't need to do on page as much anymore because of machine learning. They'll just get it." It's like, great, go for it, please do. At SNX Advanced, someone was arguing that you don't even need to use the target keyword anymore in the URL and title tag, and people were buying it. And I can tell when we've tested, that is not a good approach. Now, maybe in about 5 years when the machine has learned everything, potentially.
You mean when Skynet takes over?
Exactly. But we tested it. It's like, all right, let's just jack the target keyword and the title tag of this product and see what happens. And we fell off the face of the earth in rankings. So it's like, all right, let's put it back in. Oh, we're back on the first page. And so yeah, that's what excites me is it's just the opportunity, being able to educate the crawler, being able to educate the people, and showing with your work that, hey, this works. And when I practiced law and I was doing DUI defense,
yep.
You'd come to me with a drunk driving case. I would resolve it. You would go away. You and I wouldn't have a status meeting 3 months later with, hey, did I make your life better? The last thing you wanted to see was me or talk to me or remind of what happened. What I love about SEO and digital marketing in general is you deploy a campaign and within a day to a week, you're going to start seeing results. And I thrive off that. I thrive off the competition, off the game, off of seeing that my work actually is meaningful and impacts the company. And SEO, if you're not seeing impact, then clearly you're not doing it wrong. So get help, get an agency, reach out to the community, because you should see impact on any website you're working on. Even Wikipedia can improve.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. Well, hey, I appreciate your time today. Certainly, we deep dove. Sorry, there it is. It's the cold medicine. Trust me. But
he's just saying that because you're on the phone. It's every week.
Yeah, I really have poor grammar. We deep dove into a lot of key concepts that you're working on regularly. Your role is pretty darn unique. Do you see, it breaking up into a bit more bite-sized chunks here, and should SEOs be aspiring to what you're wrangling in right now, or should they be looking at more niche environments where they can affect global assets like that, but maybe not take on the entire evangelistic side of things, because you have to have a unique skill set to light that fire, right?
Yes, I mean, it goes with personality. I've met a lot of SEOs that know this backwards and forwards, and I would hire in a heartbeat and would love to work with, but they just hate getting on stage. They hate doing webinars. So, I mean, that's how you build your team, right? You figure out, okay, this is what my program is. This is what I need. And then you start filling in those roles. I think the approach Microsoft takes, not having a decentralized model, is a big problem. They run into big problems. They run into duplicate efforts. And then they have business groups that are completely and totally left in the dark with SEO. Amazon, I got insight over there. They have a team of about 50. Half are developers, half are SEOs. It's centralized, and they rule the internet. GoDaddy's centralized. And now that we have all the groups coming to us, it works. Sure, there's a lot to tackle, but just more resources, and you can tick that off the box of making it a lot easier. I mean, if you want to be successful, or not, that's not right. If you want more responsibility in an SEO role, you've got to break down those barriers that are getting you there. So if you don't like speaking, start light. Do webinars. Do an interview where no one can see your face like this.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Start at a local group. Like there's marketing agencies all across, at least Seattle. And I've spoken there. And I spoke with inside internally at Microsoft, and it just grows and grows and grows. If you don't know technical SEO, don't hide from it. You start learning, start reading. Go to all the blogs, start talking to these people. And then the biggest thing that you may be scared of an agency or don't think an agency is good for you. I started in-house when agency came back in-house. Agency taught me how to package. When you have a client paying anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million a year, you can't just send them an email with 5 bullet points. Please do this for your sitemap XML files. You got to create a very thorough and very pretty looking document. You got to be able to communicate this to a developer, to your point of contact that pays the bills, and then if there's an exec, you have to be able to shift that conversation in a bite-sized chunk and explain to them why it's needed. And that's, I think, why there wasn't a lot of evangelism here in the past, because most of the team for the past several years, they were just in-house. Whereas agency, I was forced to figure out how to communicate. Luckily, I also had 300 jury trials under my belt, so that wasn't a big deal speaking to people and strangers. But
you surely are not. You surely are not advocating jump into the legal profession as a DUI defense attorney to learn SEO, just to get the presentation skills there.
Yeah, no. I mean, just listen to people. Listen how they tell the story. And SEO is technical, so think, how am I going to tell this to my mom or my grandma?
Absolutely.
I've got so many analogies for pretty much everything that when you paint it in that picture, you see the light bulb go off, and then you start building on it, making it a little bit more technical, a little bit more challenging. But yeah, for you to I guess one day achieve to running a program, you're going to have some skill level in all of these buckets. Doesn't mean you need to be the expert, because hopefully you can have a team and you can hire people that are experts.
Right.
But you need to be able to have some idea what's going on. The next step for me, I guess, would be, running a traffic acquisition team. So now it's not just SEO, it's social, it's display, it's SEM.
Right.
So I keep up in that area. I haven't done paid since 2009. I probably wouldn't hire me to run a several $1 million a month budget and be the person that's actually running that. But I could run a program, hire really smart, and I know enough where it's like, all right, is this person really hitting it, or is this person hiding some stuff?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's just constant learning. The crawler and the algorithms change, tactics change, competitors change. You have to keep up with the education, and if you don't, you're going to fall behind.
Here. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And SEOs that are not embracing those key concepts, your days are numbered. You will be vetted out. You will be found out. And I mean, not to put the fear of God on them, but I mean, literally, you've got to step up, because you know what? You're actually soiling and spoiling it for the true technicians. You can't just capitalize and try to write on a belief in SEO and hope that strengthens your career. You've got to do the work. Period. All right. Yeah. Well, Garth, any last words that you want to leave us with regarding GoDaddy, or anything that you'd like to promote?
If you've got negative opinions about GoDaddy, please check us out.
Yeah.
And I never drink company Kool-Aid. I get it. Everyone wants to be part of their company. Here, the exec team, they're very transparent. Mm-hmm. They have a clear mission, and they actually want to achieve that mission. Are we going to do it right out of the gate, with a new product launch? Probably not. But we are going to iterate, and we do take customer feedback. So if you don't like something about us, reach out and say, hey, I don't like this. This could be better. Because trust me, the product teams, they're trying. And that's our goal. And if you have one of these older opinions, like, if GoDaddy wanted to kill the internet and GoDaddy is mean to women, again, look at the last 4 years. It's changed quite a bit. We're trying really hard. We've totally shifted that reputation and image. And the other thing is, we just don't sell domains. You tipped that earlier. We have the hosting, we have online marketing tools, we have email and Office, we have web security tools. So they've definitely expanded. And I drink the Kool-Aid now because they proved it to me. Or past roles, you have the exec that say, we want to be innovative, and we want to do this and that. And by the way, you're going to do your analytics out of an Excel sheet. It's like, sweet, innovation, here we are. There was a past role where we were doing all our analytics out of an Excel sheet. It was just incredible. The execs were beating their fist about it being an innovative company. So you gotta really sell and prove to me before I buy. And I've been here 18 months and totally believe the mission, and we are trying. Like I say, we're not always successful, but we do improve. So I'd say give GoDaddy a shot.
All right. Well, Garth, we are certainly going to pay attention to what you're doing over there at GoDaddy. And, we're a huge advocate of what GoDaddy does. All
my domains are moved over there.
Yep.
So
excellent.
Yeah, and quite honestly, it was after the CEO change.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Blake, it's funny. You meet CEOs and you kind of have this preconceived notion of what a CEO should be. And Blake is that smart, charming, just gets it. I love working for Blake.
Awesome.
He came from MSN Live and Yahoo Product. I mean, the guy knows his stuff.
Very cool. Okay, with that, Garth, we're going to tie this one off, and we really appreciate the time that you put in and sharing some of your opinions on the show. It is very valuable, and we certainly appreciate you giving a good, thorough perspective there. We certainly want you to help share our interview out to the world as soon as it airs next Tuesday, and Doug's the heavy hitter here. He'll always come around with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I just threaten.
Yeah, you just threaten it.
We'll just talk crap about you on the next show, Garth.
Sweet.
Excellent, man. And you know, Garth, if you have anybody that you would want to recommend, get a chance to speak to some of their passion in the digital community, please put us in touch with them. We are always looking for great references and referrals to just to showcase talent that's out there.
Yeah, have you ever spoke to Ben Spiegel? He used to be with Catalyst. Now he runs. He's the CEO of an agency in Houston.
No, we haven't.
I'll give you his contact.
Cool.
That'll be a show. Just think of a German that's been in the U.S. for a long time that drinks a lot of Red Bull.
Game on, man. Game on.
It'll be a very entertaining show, to say the least.
Very good. All right. Well,
what the amount of words he can get out in a 5-minute span is probably about 100 times what I could get out in a 5-minute span.
Holy man. Wow,
so
that's going to be a challenge.
I'll give you a list of people you might want to tap.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He's brilliant and very entertaining.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Garth, and we'll certainly tee this up to you in social media and send you some links over with all the assets that we put together for the show. And don't be a stranger. We certainly would welcome you back anytime.